Greetings. I'm recording. This is Kal Kat, and this is a spoiler-free review of Star Trek Beyond. Marx Cards and I just went to Star Trek Beyond. It is now just about 11. It was a midnight show. Well, it was the 8 o'clock show. It is the night before opening night. A semi-packed house. First, we'll start with previews real brief. The previews included a Ben-Hur remake. Looks like an action picture. Magnificent Seven remake. Yet again. Another one. There was Keeping Up with the Joneses. And a movie about a kid on Mars who comes to Earth. And they made the erroneous distinction that he was born on Mars, so he comes to Earth, and Earth gravity would mess with him. But that would only work if he was if somehow humans living on Mars their bones would be more brittle somehow, which he wouldn't be if they built a colony. Nobody's bones would be more brittle. People don't devolve anyway. From being in a weightless environment. Their bones would atrophy. They would all atrophy. But I think that Anyway, but they implied that there was gravity, so that doesn't make sense. Maybe it does eventually. Anyway, on to if he evolved into a thinner gravity person, that would be kind of weird. That doesn't happen like that. We don't, as Neil deGrasse Tyson said, we do not adapt. We mutate. Anyway, so on to, let's see, there was some other action picture. Oh yeah, Jack Reacher 2 was another one. Anyway, so there was a little diatribe there about the Mars kid. Only if his bones were brittle, everybody's bones would be brittle. And he would just, that was there. He wouldn't be lesser anyway in the gravity of the Earth. He wouldn't be able to walk on the Earth. He'd be running around in a space wheelchair. That's it. But Anyway, Star Trek. Back to now onto Star Trek. There were a couple other movies that were forgettable. Star Trek Beyond. Jason Lin's Star Trek Beyond. Early on, there was some controversy concerning how the story would go, because they had actually let Roberto Orci go and had thrown away his script. I had read an advanced version of his script, and via some connections, and found another version later on. The original script was going to be crap. The new one is not. They took most of it out and changed it. If this was that script, they had considerably altered it. His Orky's script was going to be bad. And they let him go. They fired him. Now that the cat is out of the bag and someone else went along and did it, Simon Pegg and Jason Lin, and some other writers, it looks like the movie actually works. It's the third Star Trek movie, very similar in tone and going to previous Star Treks, very similar to Trek 09. They dumped the dark sort of backstory thing with the whole dark and twisted and tormented and yes, again, there was a sort of a stock villain whose motivation seemed a little weird. I'm not going to give away anything, though. This is a spoiler-free short review, which case later on, Marx Cards and I will discuss do a full-on discussion of the Ghostbusters and then full-on discussion of this Star Trek movie as well. But this is just a preview review. Star Trek Beyond is good. It's a good movie. The story from the trailers, if you look at the trailers, pretty much you can tell the beat by beat of a lot of what's going to happen. The character development is much better in this one. Spock is apparently broken up with Uhura, and there's this little diatribe in there about that. McCoy offers him advice on the planet. There's of course a ship-shattering blast that happens as a result of an alien attack. After leaving a fantastical space station, they go into a rift-like area that they've never explored, which is sort of vaguely V-shaped and red and glowy and stuff, and looks a heck of a lot like Cillian space from Star Trek Chimera. Yes, it does. Yeah. There's a little bit of Chimera in Beyond, which I think is kind of strangely awesome. But yeah, even the villain was a little bit like a Chimera villain, a little bit like an Overlord. But yeah, same kind of, well, not the same kind of thing. The villains in the other show are similar. But yeah, there's a car alarm going off. But there's it's a red alert. The villain, yeah, his motivation's a little weird, but he was apparently, well, it's not really spoilery, but he was sort of rejected by Starfleet, let's say, and he became a villain, which you get from the previews. And he sends his swarm after the Enterprise when it goes to investigate the anomaly out in space. Yeah, so they pay homage to Leonard Nimoy, or as Mr. Spock in this case. They do that quite well, so Cillian doesn't really need to do it, but there's a Cillian story that was an homage to him from last year. That's not in this movie, but the only part that's yeah, well, that picture of the crew from, there's a picture in it that you'll see of the original crew from, looks like Star Trek 6. There's a picture that Spock gets, but yeah, I was wondering where I put that. Anyway, that picture, cast photo. But yeah, I did not go to the contest, although I was encouraged to try. There was a contest to be in this movie, and although I have done the writing contest years and years ago, 2 decades ago, there was a contest to appear on this movie, and I did not do it. I did not get out there in time to do it. Other things were going on. Disneyland trip was going on, actually. Yeah, so I couldn't get a walk-on roll onto the film. So, and other things. But yeah, well, some people that I knew of, one of the Trek Corps people got in it, knew of indirectly. So that was cool. I get to see them in there. The guy that had the website, Star Trek Beyond, was not in it. The Uncharted guy, Michael Gamilt, was not in it, and not listed. There's more of Marx Cards and I in this movie than in Star Trek 09. And yeah, the Franklin is the Ciliosaurus, basically. But yes, the Chimera. But no, not really. Anyway, so yeah, there's this story, Star Trek story going on. I had nothing to do with it. I'm just trying to keep from spoiling it. It's good. Go out and see it. It's very action-packed. Jason Lin is a sci-fi fan, so it works on many levels as a Star Trek story, as an action story. It has plenty of action. And actually character development and affection for the characters. Yeah. So, what do we got? How much time do we got? Oh, okay. Yeah, so spoiler free. Yeah, you know from the previews what happens to the ships and stuff. You know, there's going to be other. They land on a planet at one point About the middle of the movie is all on the planet. They find the other ship on the planet, which is in the trailer. They commandeer it, and they have to save the station. So, a big station thing that looks kind of like Dubai on the planet. And yeah. Some of the early preview stuff that I saw was of the Dubai set and them running back and forth. Some of the ship stuff, Enterprise Corridor stuff I can reveal now because I saw it. The crashed saucer section stuff, they fall off the saucer, so do that. Yeah, then running through the corridors, that crowd scene stuff, similar. The gathering scene at the end is very similar to a gathering scene in Chimera, and yeah, the nod to apparently I can reveal the nod to apparently an ancestor of Tom Paris, and Admiral Paris is in this. I say Admiral. The Admiral lady with the sort of voice as Admiral Paris, which I thought was interesting. That means that she is an ancestor of Admiral Paris, which is cool. Yes, in honor of Chimera being about Nick Locarno and Admiral Paris and Tom Paris, they had to reference us. So that's cool. Right on. I'm not related to Locarno and Paris. It's just that happens to have the same. But yeah. But no, they really didn't look at Chimera. They didn't see the script. No, they might have seen it. Yeah, it's really different. It's quite different. But because that other guy was playing with everybody about his version of Beyond, my version of Beyond was closer to the Jason Lin one than it is. They go into the Cillian Rift. They're in there. You don't want to call it the Cillian Rift. Actually, you totally could have. You totally could have called it that. but yeah. Oh well. Next series. Yes. Star Trek Beyond. And you had all the points. You had 3 acts. You had ship in peril, down on the planet, get into the ship, go fight the bad guy. You had a villain that's motivation was a little off. That's one of the drawbacks. You had another villain that his motivation was a little off. I have to explain that, but I don't want to give it away. And it's still a good movie. It's still you gotta have your villain, I guess. You gotta have your action shots and stuff. And actually, the use of the music in the story ties in to the story in a believable way. They don't just do like in The Great Gatsby and throw in rap music where it doesn't belong. It's not that bad when they throw in a little bit of sabotage because it's part of the story. It's like, okay, the song is actually part of how they will essentially have the min-made offense, as Marx Cards called it, near the end, which is right out of Silly Trek and Robotech. So that was awesome too. And yes, they reference offhandedly and don't really bring it up Sulu and his family, and Sulu has a husband. They just let it happen. No one thinks anything of it because it's the future. That line they did get from me. Yes, they put that in there. I got that line from Chimera. They did. But yes, so Star Trek Beyond. Go and see that. Yeah. They got the line from me. Anyway, that doesn't mean anything other than they got that line from that. They've been reading the Trek Core blogs. Yes, they read. And they read you guys, other guys too. They read C'est la Vie's. They read Mr. Picard's. They read Prometheus. They read. Heck, they even read Tupper Fans. Yeah, they frequent Trek Core. According to the sources, they frequent Trek Core a lot. They read that blog. That's what blog is, one of those 503 blogs. All right, They're not going to go after him. So yeah. Yeah. And it was hot tonight. It's just Star Trek Beyond. I'm going to go see it again. I'm going to go see it in IMAX within the next 24 hours or 48 hours. And I'm going to see it again. So right on. Because I have to see it again. Oh, yes. Star Trek Beyond. Probably 48 hours. Yeah. So, so let's figure out where it's either IMAX Mercado or IMAX Eastridge. We'll see which one. And yeah, either place is probably all right, I guess. So that's it. I can't give away any more about the movie, but I can give away some more about Star Trek Chimera, a fan film. And that full production begins again around August 15th. And we'll try to wrap production on the full thing by of our fan film, Star Trek fan film, by in time for the end of August, and then jump into early September for the release of the movie, the fan film. Yeah, so we just put the pieces together, and once it's shot, that's not going to be a problem. So the film, fan film. New show, don't know what it's called or subtitled. Role-playing game, working on that. It's going to be a read-along one. It's not going to be like Trek Online. It's going to be a read-along. So hope you're good at reading, because it's going to be all text. But yeah, so there you go. Well, there's going to be blogs about it too. There will be episodes played. Website. But well, yeah. So if there's a good one coming up. So anyway, yeah, Trek Beyond, and Star Trek Beyond, Jason Lin's movie, Planet in the Rift story, similar to cover. But yeah, I don't think we destroyed the Enterprise though in Chimera. We implied it, but we didn't actually destroy it. But that's in the trailer, so I'm not spoiling anything. Engaged.